Hey, what's up you guys, welcome back to my another video. Today I'm gonna be reviewing the new Baby and Durk album, The Voices of the Heroes. Now before I get started, I did take a little bit of a break, right, just over 2 weeks I think. Now, but I didn't plan to make it this long. I did have a reaction ready for this album, but while I was editing it, I just kind of realized it was a bit of a shit reaction, so I decided to just scrap it and go straight to the review. June is fucking crazy for music. Now we got 3 new albums coming out this Friday, another album coming out the week after, and then the week after that probably something else is gonna drop, let's be honest. So only banger videos from here on out, including this one. So without further ado, let's just get straight into the review. Now, just like with all my reviews, I'm gonna start off by talking about my top 3 songs on the album, then I'll talk about my bottom 2, and then I'll talk about the whole album at the end. And yeah, let's just get straight into it with the first song out of my top 3, and this will be Bruised Up.
I did everything they last, they ain't do much, and they ain't call me to plead their case, and it been 2 months.
Now I've got to say, out of the 3 of my top 3 tracks, this one is probably the most bland. You know, it's probably the most typical as any other song on this album. And if I did actually put up a reaction, then you probably hear me talk about the piano beats on this album, because there's quite a few piano beats on here which you know, I'm not like the biggest fan of anymore. I feel like it's way overdone, but this one I'm enjoying, not gonna lie. Them chords are fucking nice. Durk absolutely killed it. It reminds me of the Kanye Crazy song he's done for Lyrical Lemonade, but just 10 times better. It's kind of the same vibe in terms of Durk's delivery, his even flows, you know, and especially the beat, of course. And yeah, it's just done way better in my opinion. You know, he's actually talking about some real shit. It is a good kind of vibe switch, right? It's something a bit more from the heart. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Baby done his thing as well, although I do have to say that Durk was the standout on this track. Now at number 2, I got Hats Off featuring Travis Scott.
And a lot of them betting it out, cause I know that I got them. Remember me, I was driving in Paulus. We don't beef this
kind of similar to Bruised Up. This song does kind of remind me to another song. This time it is by Tory Lanez, and that is Motorboat. Came out at the end of last year, and the reason why this song reminds me of that only a little bit is because of Baby's flows. I've got to say they are at times identical. Now I'm not going to throw shade or nothing, I don't really give a shit too much, it's just kind of a comment I thought like throwing out there. But other than that, I feel like the beat is crazy. It's got so many layers to it. It's got that kind of sense of urgency. You know, for some reason, it just gives me that vibe where when you listen to it, you just want to get shit done. You want to just run and do shit. I feel like Baby absolutely killed it, you know, with that Tory Lanez flow. He fucking straight up killed it, man. I mean, that guy just doesn't take breaths, bro. I mean, honestly, like, the kind of rapper that he turned into the past year and this year is honestly crazy. I mean, in 2018 and around that time, he was just thought of as a Young Thug clone. Right, he was just another one of those rappers out there. Now he's an actual leader. He kind of came into his own style, and he's the one leading this new generation, which is dope to see, honestly. Now in terms of Durk, I'd say unlike Bruised Up, he kind of was the weak link here, not to a great extent, but it is quite clear to see when Baby just absolutely murders his verse and then Durk comes in straight after, and especially when Travis Scott comes in later on, because as soon as I heard that beat for the first time, I was really interested as to how Travis is gonna come in on this. I mean, this is not a typical beat that Travis would rap on, right? But nevertheless, he absolutely killed it. I feel like he had the second best verse, and yeah, it's just a dope song. I actually didn't enjoy it too much on my first reaction, but as I was listening to it back and forth, and I actually watched Sean C's reaction to the album as well, who absolutely loved this shit, and he absolutely loved Hats Off. So not gonna lie, that kind of energy he gave to the song by just turning up to it kind of rubbed off on me, and I started to give it more of a chance, and you know, I'm not mad about it for sure. Only thing is, obviously Durk, it didn't perform as well as on Bruised Up and as on this other song that I'm gonna talk about in a minute, and it's actually going to be a point that I'm going to mention when I talk about the whole album in general, because there is a pretty big issue throughout this album to me that I noticed, and yeah, it's pretty clear. But now let me show you my top pick for this whole album, and in my opinion is the best song on the album. Not by far, okay, a lot of these songs are pretty close, but this one, I mean, is amazing, right? Let me just play this.
Told these niggas that they gang and they can hang, that shit be strange. I be there, then I pull off my entourage and take it.
So yeah, my top pick for this album will be Lying. You know, a lot of these songs don't really have too much substance to them. This is kind of one of them, you know. They're kind of just talking about their street life, which is some substance, I guess, but my point is that they talk about this type of shit on every single song, right? So in terms of the subject matter on this song, that is definitely not the selling point for me. But what is the selling point is, first of all, the production, right? It's fucking insane. It's one of my favorite beats on here. Got so many layers to it. Again, it changes throughout the song, you know. It actually evolves, not to a great extent, you know. It's not a completely different beat by the end, but throughout it adds little things. It changes a little bit in tiny ways to keep you interested, and that's dope. I feel like that's kind of the bare minimum that every beat should have, you know, at least some kind of form of change throughout the song to keep you interested, you know. If it's just a loop, like, it's a bit dead, right? When you got millions of dollars worth of backing behind your album, the least you can do is have some dynamic beats. You know, these aren't SoundCloud rappers who are just pulling beats off of YouTube, you know. But now the second thing that really made it pretty much go to the next level for me is obviously Durk and his delivery. One of my favorite Durk songs is No Auto Durk, just purely because of how just his delivery, he's just chilling. I feel like his flows is just smooth as fuck, and even the subject matter, even though it's pretty much exactly the same as this, there's something about it, you know. Even though I just said that it's not its biggest selling point for the song, but it just makes you want to turn up, and that's exactly the goal of the song, so it's accomplished that greatly. Now, in terms of Baby, he's not up to par on this song compared to Durk. I mean, he didn't ruin the song again, just like with the other two songs, but there's a definite step down when it comes from Durk's to Baby's verse on this song, and that's pretty much all I've got to say about it. But now it's time for me to talk about my two least favorite songs on that album, and I've got to say, a lot of these songs that I haven't picked for the top 3 are kind of very similar level. So just because I'm picking these two songs doesn't mean that they are necessarily absolutely horrible. I just feel like they're kind of the most bland out of the bunch. So with that being said, let me pick my first out of the two, and that will be Still Running featuring Meek Mill. I don't really know what to say about this one, to be honest. I feel like there's no bounce to the beat. Like the way the drum pattern is made, it's just, you know, it doesn't make me move or anything. I feel like Meek Mill, I love Meek Mill most of the time. As a rapper, of course, his Twitter personality is another story, okay? But in terms of his rapping, he is dope. And his delivery, when it fits the song, it does fit the song, okay? And on here, it did fit the vibe for sure. So I don't think Meek Mill's the weak point on here. He's actually one of the strong points to me. He really gave it some energy, which it was lacking. And then Baby, Durk, they just, like I said, when Meek Mill gave it some energy, the other two just kind of took the energy back. You know, I feel like there's no kind of hype behind this song to me, personally. And that's all I can really say about it. I put it up the first 5 years, so how the fuck can I really lose? I learned to wipe my face with these dollar bills and all of them blues. Up the Side featuring Young Thug. Guys, I don't want to pick another song that has Young Thug on it as my bottom 2 ever again. What the fuck is this? Honestly, if you watch my reaction, I was pissed. I was pissed the fuck off. Basically, my point is, the beat is insane. To me, I feel like this is probably the best beat on here, you know. It's not like a major turn up track. It's just got that vibe, you know. I feel like it would be really nice for just driving, just running, doing shit, you know. It just kind of makes you want to do shit. I feel like it makes you want to run. Kind of reminds me of No Ops Left Behind on the Savage 2 album by 21. Not in terms of anything sonically, but it just gives me the same vibe. And yeah, the beat is just great. And then Thug comes in. First of all, he doesn't even let the beat ride, okay? He lets it ride for maybe 2 bars or whatever, like he said, and throughout that even he says some shit, right? So you can't even get into the groove of the song. Oh, I don't know how to even word it, but it's just the way he comes in, it's just not smooth at all. Like, it just doesn't fit. And then as he goes on with his flow, he kind of gets into it, so it sounds a little bit better. But the first few lines from him are just so awkward to me. They're so barely on beat. And then Durk comes in, who does this thing. I've got to say, Durk is by far the best part of this song. If it was just Durk, this would probably be my top 2 song on the album rather than bottom 2. I just feel like for this beat, there's a certain pocket that you want to hit. Like, this isn't a beat where you want to like practice or fucking experiment some random shit. This is just a great beat that you want to do justice, and you want to make sure that it's got some steady flows and you're saying the words where they're meant to be said and they hit on the right notes and all that shit, you know. And I feel like Durk's done exactly that. Then Baby comes in as the third verse and he does not do that at all. I mean, it sounds like he rapped to just the metronome. So, you know, when you record your vocals, you can just rap to the beat. But if you want to really make sure that you stay on beat, you can literally take out the beat completely, right? And then just have the metronome, the clicker, and rap to that and then play the beat with it. So that's pretty much how I envision him rapping to this, you know, basically just steady flow wherever. He doesn't really consider the melody on top, right? What I'm basically saying. I hope all this makes sense, because this song is all about feel for me. Like the reason why I'm not fucking with it is because of the way the Baby and the fuck verses kind of make me feel. Now, in terms of the overall album, okay, I've seen some pretty mixed reactions on Twitter. I've got to say, Sean C, like I said before, absolutely loves this album. He fucking swears by it. Then there's people like Miami, right? Apparently absolutely hates this album. And then obviously there's fucking many people in between, right? I feel like I don't think John Denton is the biggest fan of this either. So, you know, if it was if this album was loved by everyone, I would feel kind of bad shitting on it. But because it is like a mixed bag, I don't really care. And to me, this is really boring. Honestly, this is a very boring album. As soon as I saw that there's 18 tracks on here, it's nearly an hour long, bro. That reaction, no wonder I scrapped it, bro, because by the end of it, I was fucking about to go to sleep, honestly, like, you know. So that doesn't help, okay? That doesn't help. The amount of songs on here, I feel like you could easily take out at least 4 or 5 songs, and that would genuinely help so much. But if there are absolute bangers on top of bangers on top of bangers throughout the album, and it doesn't slow down as it goes along, then I can get through it. But it just doesn't do that to me. I feel like every song, pretty much every song, is so similar. I mean, honestly, if I didn't have these names around here, okay, if I didn't have the names laid out on the plate, I would not be able to tell which song is which. Medical is pretty cool. It's a bit different. Obviously Up the Side is a little different, but I thought it was fucking shit, so that doesn't even mean anything. And of course, I mean, it's Baby and Durk's style, this type of genre, right? It's just that because there's so many songs on here, I just get tired of this. You know, I feel like I said this on my Cole reaction, where I said that I love Baby's stuff when he comes in on features or when he comes out with a single or something like that, because I don't have to listen to another hour of his voice, because it just gets tiring. You know, his style is perfect for a little bit of a switch up in the pace of a random song with a different artist, where he just comes in as a feature, kills it, and just goes, right, I don't hear him again. When it comes to his albums, they're all just samey, man. I mean, again, like, there are a few exceptions: Emotionally Scarred, Drip Too Hard. But yeah, you know, it's just this style, I guess, and it doesn't suit me, guessing, like, that's just what it is, right? When it comes to Durk, he's got some really nice creative songs as well. Like Stay Down, one of my favorite songs of last year by Durk. It's got such a different style to what he does all the time, and then he comes in on here and just does the same as Baby. Obviously, it's a collab album, right? So they're gonna do the same thing as each other. But one of them should have came in and been like, bro, let's switch it up, you know, just make a really dope song that has a different style to it. Yeah, I'd say one more thing about this album as well is that, as I kind of hinted at earlier, a lot of these songs can't seem to get Baby and Durk on their A game at the same time. I mean, every song from my top 3 features either a Baby on his A game where he absolutely slaughters it, but then Durk comes in and he's just a bit sloppy, or is the other way around. So I'm not sure why that is. So yeah, I just kind of hated for this album for a little bit. So in terms of the good things, I guess it's got some good turn up tracks, okay, and throughout, as bad as the flows are at times, they are mostly solid. You know, they are solid on average, and at best they are pretty fucking great, you know, and at worst they are not horrible, okay. So I feel like this album is like the definition of mid. You know, I hate to use that word, but it is a little bit mid, just with the fact that so many of these tracks are just kind of passable. Like, I just don't mind them, you know. Any of these songs, I don't mind actually playing them, but I'm just thinking, like, what's the point? You know, I could easily add this whole album to my library and just be happy. Like, I want to skip any of these songs. But there's just no point, right? Because a lot of these songs are just the same as each other. So I just feel like there's no point of overdoing it like that. To rate it, I'd say I give it a I'd say I'd give it a 4 out of 10. Okay, it is not horrible, but it's not great. It's just below mid to me. So yeah, this will be it for today. Hope you enjoyed. Bit of a negative video to come back with, but we got so many albums next week. There's one of them is bound to be great. Okay, we got Polo G, Culture Free, we got Pierreborn, and I love Pierreborn, so his album for sure is gonna be great to me. So that'll be something positive. But yeah, again, this will be it for today. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you check out all the links in my description to my Twitter, my Insta, my Spotify. I drop new music every other week, and I post on YouTube weekly. So yeah, hope you enjoyed, and peace.